Hello, welcome back to the channel. This one we are going to go into some live trading, and we're going to do it in a little bit more detail because last time I glazed over my moving average strategy a bit too fast, I think. So we're going to dive into this. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one, but it's going to have that little bit more detail so you can understand what I actually look for. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So as I mentioned a few times on this channel, this is a play trading account. This is fake money, it's not real money. I'm not ready to show you my real account yet just because I'm not quite there yet, and obviously it's not a lot in there, so there's no point. This looks way more dramatic, but the principles are the same, and yeah, let's jump straight into it. So this is the hour chart for the UK FTSE 100, which is the indice that follows the FTSE 100. Obviously this is a little bit longer in terms of hours, and this is the hour chart as I've mentioned. So my first initial thing to do is to add the 21 moving average, which is this one here, and then the 50 moving average, which is this kind of darker grey line here, and then this black line, which is the 200 moving average, which I'm hoping you can see. And what I do is I add all of those in the chart objectives, obviously down on the right panel there. Once I've done that, I will zoom out, probably on the daily chart, maybe the 4-hour chart, and I'll draw in some lines. So let's just go ahead and draw a line here, and I just kind of drag it down to see if there's a kind of fairly good support line or resistance line. This is what I'm looking for. So probably around this area is where I'm looking for, and then what I'll do is I'll just colour that white. Well, actually no, I'll colour it yellow. Let's go yellow. And I'll make it a little bit thicker so you can see. So there's one support line, and that's probably where something I would look to sell, because obviously you can see it's bounced off there 1, 2, 3, 4 times, maybe almost 5, not quite there with that one, maybe showing a little bit of weakness there. Anyway, still on the day chart, we're also looking at another line. So let's drag this down. You can see already this is quite a key line, especially in the previous months. And if I colour that one yellow as well, do that, make it thicker, and then we zoom out and we can see that that's kind of a channel that it's trading into. So we're probably looking at this stock, which is the FTSE 100, UK 100 on trading 2 on 2 if you use that, to kind of come up here again, and if it doesn't, then that's trading. So we're probably looking at this indice to come up and bounce off this yellow line here. But what I can also see as well is the 200-day moving average, which is this black line, which is being quite prominent where it is at the moment. Now, as you can see, it hasn't really bothered it much in the past, and obviously news events might blow it straight through, but it is a factor you should go into. So if we zoom in just a touch, we can see it's playing around that line here on the daily chart. But what we're doing is we're day trading. We're not swing trading, we're not long-term investing, we're day trading. So we don't really want to be looking at the daily chart, but that's obviously just looking at the major support lines. Now what we're looking to do is dive in a little bit deeper on the 1-hour chart. Now if we zoom out again, we can see that the stock is trending upwards, and you can see that. So what I would do is draw a trend line just from here all the way up to around about here. It doesn't have to be exact, it's just a general thing because you can never be exact with these lines. And we're going to go ahead and colour that green. Let's go green. And you can see that general trend. Now this is exciting because you could probably place a day trade if it breaks the trend line, if you see what I mean. And then say for example it broke this trend line here, a very clean break, you're probably looking for this around, probably break the 200 as well. And then you're probably looking at the profit zone of this yellow line here, which is 69.87 in this case. But obviously because we're trending upwards, we're probably looking at the next resistance line. So what we're going to do is zoom out. Trading 2 on 2 does this thing where it doesn't give you the whole chart, which is really annoying. So we'll jump out to the 4 hours and have a look at that. Zoom in a touch because it's a bit impossible to see. And we're going to just find another little resistance zone. So we draw a line here, and you can see nothing too cemented, I would say. Maybe right about here might be good. So I would then colour that yellow as well, because they're the lines I'm looking for. So I'd probably be looking at the stock to go up to here, which is the 7401 in this case. Reason for that is it has acted as a support here, It's bounced around this area around about here as well. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see that. And obviously way back here had a little bit of activity, but nothing as such. So we're probably looking at this to kind of come up here and touch this yellow line, which would be great. And obviously I would go ahead and set a signal for that. So let's go ahead, that's 7399, set price alert. And that would be where if it hits that, I'd be looking to short. just a small short, keep a stop loss just above it, and then come down back to the trend line. And if it breaks the trend line, even better, because then I'd be looking at kind of this yellow line, or probably somewhere a little bit safer, kind of around about, probably around about here, because that's obviously fairly solid support as well, kind of that yellow, make it thicker, so you can see. So obviously it places the support, resistance kind of around here, support here, played around here, and again around about here. I'm sorry if you're just listening to this video, because obviously here doesn't help, but you should really be watching because it is a chart based video. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're not really going to place a trade because it is in a bit of a limbo zone, and because of that obviously I won't be able to live trade in this particular time zone. So we're going to jump into the 1 minute time zone and have a little bit of fun there. So let's jump straight into the 1 minute, and you can see it looks completely different. Where are those lines, you say? Well, they're gone because this is a 1 minute time zone, so it's a lot more shorter, a lot smaller. I would probably, if I was looking at a 1 minute time zone and I wanted to trade it, I'd probably zoom out to a 5 minute and draw my lines there. And for this example, we'll colour these slightly differently to the yellow ones we just had. And let's go kind of pale blue, and then maybe draw another one, maybe a little bit of support around about, maybe around about here. 1, 2, 3, 4 axis of resistance there. Maybe drop it. You could say here, but I'm not too sure if that's too, because if you go back, go up to a 10 minute, make it a little bit slightly bigger, you'd probably draw over here or here. So we're going to go for the closest one, and I'll leave it there. And that is also pale blue, slightly thicker. And you can see, obviously if we zoomed out, you can see those yellow lines again, which is cool. Oh. So jumping back into the 5 minute, you can see that there. Just for the purpose of this video, I think we're going to just make it slightly easier and put it here. It's played around this level quite a few times, and I'll drop back into the 1 minute, and you can see that it is playing around these moving averages as you would expect on a 1 minute chart. And you can see it's trying to break actually that 21 moving average, which it is actually kind of doing. And it might touch the 50. Now if it breaks the 50, I will place a trade as a short down to the 200, and I would make hopefully some profit. Let's go ahead and just change this amount. Doesn't really matter, but a nice 100 share amount is okay. And what I would do is just hit sell, and that places a short order on the market, and it will go down. So let's go ahead and watch this for a second, and let's see if it breaks. Just while we're watching it, we could actually place a short here from the 21 to the 50, but it's a bit risky because obviously the stock is in an uptrend, and it could very easily go against you. It could very easily go up, and we don't want that because that is obviously we don't want to lose in trade ideally. So yeah, we've got to watch out for that. Also, while we're watching this kind of stock movement here, we will probably place the stop loss somewhere around about here. When we do go ahead and place the trade, because it gives you a little bit of room. If you place it here, it can easily just snap up, take you out. It's happened to me loads of times. Snap you out and then go straight back down. So I'd probably give it a little bit more room, probably somewhere around 72.98. I'll probably actually just put a little line in there now, make it red, obviously stop loss zone, just so you can see it on your screens a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and watch this stock play out. Another thing while we're watching this stock move on is if you actually click and drag on the prices here and bring it down, you can see that previous resistance line that we saw here, and that's where maybe on an uptrend it may look to bounce off of there and then create a downtrend, and that's why the line is there. It's there to bounce off basically, because obviously not every stock goes up. That'd be great, but obviously that's not how it works. But yeah, let's continue watching this play out, and let's see if it breaks this grey line, which is the 50-day moving average. So we are getting a little bit of a break here, but nothing too amazing. While we're sitting here, again, I just make sure you subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of live trading content. I am looking to go live at some point soon. This is just more of a tryout to see if it's actually worth watching, and see if my kind of method is good enough to teach, or show you guys, or just if you're just watching, have me on the background, that kind of thing. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, obviously smash that like button so more eyes can get on it. We are showing a little bit of strength at this 15-day moving average, 15-minute moving average, sorry. And I'll probably look, because it's an uptrend, probably look for it to bounce up. Now what you could do actually, what I'm looking for is a short here, but what you could do is actually bounce and play a long on this trade. and up to this point, or even up to this point if you wanted to. So I might go ahead and do that depending on what happens, and then my stop loss would be somewhere around about probably here. Give it a little bit of extra room because we've got a bit of support around here. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and draw that line so you can visually see that stop loss that I might have in mind, as we can see there. And I'll just bring that down so you can see both lines. The idea is that this candle comes down, it closes, and then goes down again, and that's when you kind of enter, because so many times you can kind of see it around about here. You have a nice red candle coming down, but then straight away the green one comes straight back up. It's just one of those little fake out things. That's how kind of the candles work, really. So you want 2 consecutive red candles probably around about here, and then you would short, and then it will probably make its way down eventually here, or maybe slightly above the black line, which is the 200-minute moving average. So yeah, let's continue watching this. I know this is probably a little bit of a long watch, but that is the point of live trading. Getting a bit more of a break here, might be doing so. I don't actually have the minute time on. Where is the settings? You can actually put on the candle timer, which I have done there, and you can see how long is left of this candle. Sometimes you can anticipate a nice close and then go in just before the candle closes in hope that it will obviously close negative or positive if it's going the other way around. And then you just go in early, catch the move early. But again, that's a bit of a risk. So we've got 7-6 left of this candle, and it is a fairly clean break of that line, so I am just going to short. And then my stop loss would be here, so let's go ahead and put that in, 7298. 7298. And then we'll just let the trade play out. I am looking for it to bounce off this 200 moving average line, so we'll set a target price of 7280. Just while we're here, we can see it's cleanly bounced off of, unfortunately, my entry line for a short, and that's probably because back here you've got resistance points that have hit that kind of area, and that's probably something I should have seen, should have looked at, and probably pointed out. But that's just trading. You can't get everything, especially on the 1 minute. I mean, 1 minute can be a bit risky, but I'm just doing this because of the purpose of the video, and obviously making it a little bit more entertaining for you guys to kind of understand my strategy. And you can see it's finding a little bit of resistance at this 21 moving average line, which is very possible. We might actually see a move down to this target price line now. As you can see, it actually likes this line as a support, which is kind of bad news for me because that is actually my entry point. So there's lessons to be learned here, and obviously possibly a poor entry. Maybe if it broke that support, maybe enter around about here instead, but obviously nothing's perfect. And it could still work out, obviously. It could still break that support and give me a nice return. So let's just hop out to the 5 minute and see what's going on here. So yeah, that line, my target price is here. It may actually bounce off the 21 moving average on the 5 minute chart, which is probably what it's looking to do, but it could also blow straight through it, of course, and then look to go down to here. But at the moment we are just looking at the 1 minute chart, obviously, and it is kind of breaking that support on the 1 minute chart now, and hopefully make a little move down. So as you can see at the moment, it's a clean break from the two moving averages there, so the 21 and the 50. It's a clean break from that. I'm just looking for it to come down to that 200 moving average line now, and that's it. But it may not get there, because obviously on the other time frames, the 5 minute and the 10 minute and the 15 minute, it may be at different stages, and I think that is currently where that stage is. If you switch back to the 5 minute quickly, you can see that is there. So you could actually take profit now if you wanted to, just to be on the safe side, but you know, I've got my target price here. We'll just see if it hits it. But all I do is probably move my stop loss down to around about here, just above the moving average, just above the moving averages, just to limit that risk, which is 7.2, which is now there. So if it pings back up there, it'll trigger me out, and that'll be a loss. But it won't be such a big loss, as obviously the stop loss would be up here. Let's bring that down. So this is actually a great example of me still being a beginner. I'm actually just going to cut this trade here, for the reasons being that this support line which I drew earlier is what it's bouncing off of. So obviously that is something to be concerned about, because obviously it may not go through that, and if it does, it does. But maybe I was looking for a better entry completely. So my entry on that was very poor. Also, if we move up to the time frame, which I've recently been going through, we can see that 21 moving average on the 5 minute is bouncing off of that fairly cleanly. So I just want to get out of that trade. I could go long here, but obviously for the purpose of this video, that's probably long enough, and I probably bored you enough as it is, but this is basically what I look for in the trades. Obviously this one wasn't perfect, and that's just somehow how trading goes. You know, not every trade is perfect. This one was a loss of about £100, so it's basically break even on this account. So that's not the end of the world. Obviously it can come down here, that's fine, but I would probably look to enter around about here instead of entering kind of flat and at support. That's not where you want to enter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Now it's a little bit of a longer one. I just want to give a little bit more detail what my strategy is. Obviously this one didn't really work out as planned, but you can see what I'm looking out for: the bounce between the 21, the 50 and the 200 moving average, and obviously playing in between the resistance and support lines. If you liked this video, please obviously like the video. I really do appreciate that, and obviously subscribe for more content like this. And I'm hoping to go properly live at some point in the near future. This video kind of helps me gain confidence to go live, because I am an introvert. You know, it's a bit weird when you're live. I have been live before in the past when I used to play games and all that kind of stuff, but this is obviously a little bit different. So yeah, thank you very much for all your support. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.